Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. The Wasteless World Talks are here again with Bill and Kevin. And today's topic, value. And I will start today with you, Bill. Again, closing your eyes and listening to the term value, what do you see first?
As an old salesman, I was always taught to sell the value before you talk about price. Value to me is the heart of the subject. That is, value is what the other person desires. Maybe value is what you desire. It's a broad term, and it means different things to different people. I like the word value. There's so much in the world today that has no value or very little value, or the value is hidden or not articulated.
What about you, Kevin?
I'm a little bit like Bill. I see value. It's a verb. It's something we do. So we value friendship. We value each other. We value somebody's opinion. So when I think of value, it's something that comes from inside us. It's something that we appreciate.
It's quite interesting because both of you touch the noon discussion, and there at the end resonates strongest the fact that value is honor in a way which you described, Kevin. So the honor. I am the value is that I can look back in my footprints and I do not shame for that and similar stuff. So it's quite interesting. And I was surprised that nobody, not a single person said value is money or value is number of likes or some of this digital whatever. That was interesting. I expected that somebody will mention that, especially money, but nobody did.
I am surprised at that as well. So, Kevin, you said that you looked at it first as a verb, and that struck me because I was looking at it as a noun. And of course, it's both or either one.
Yeah.
Where does value come from?
You mean the term or you mean the meaning?
Our understanding of value, and going back perhaps to what you said about it, nobody mentioned money. When we are younger, I think just starting out, we probably do equate money or financial well-being or something like that with value. If nobody in your lunchtime crowd mentioned that, what's the age of those people? Is this age related when you begin to value something other than money?
Not sure.
I think in a way, it's interesting because if we think of value in terms of money, it has one set of meanings. But if we think of value as personal attributes or personal morality, then our values are precious to us. And in terms of money, there must be some association with preciousness.
When I take it from Czech language, value, there is a term hodnota, and this term is connected only, or majority of the term is connected to price, value of something. We, of course, can say the value of a man, but this expression almost disappeared. So the only which reminds, and this is why I was so surprised, was the connection to money. And then when Pat says that it's honor, and this is close to what Kevin says, it was very interesting because, you know, the term honor as well in my language almost disappeared in the real meaning. It's not used anymore. So it'll, yes.
Another word that's close to that is worth. When you talked about a man's value, oftentimes I hear, "What is his worth?" Which I think means what does he bring to the party? What is his contribution? And in terms of a business, what is his worth? What does he bring to the company's value? How does he contribute to the company's value? And usually that means some sort of business skill or acumen or experience. I don't know if the two words are similar in that context or not. I like the word value. That was interesting, Kevin, that you used the word morality. Maybe that was you, Michael, I forget. The morality, equating value with morality. So that may be in the ears of the listener. People value the same thing differently. I suspect that the three of us values are similar, but there are many people in this world who their concept of value, or whether or not they value a person or value an idea, is very different from yours and mine. And that then would go back to morality. Maybe.
Actually, Bill, going on from that, if you do look at it from the moral point of view, the way we come to judge if something has a value or not is to evaluate, which again is normally it's a moral question. You know, I need to evaluate this to see if I'm happy with it, if I'm not happy with it. You know, it's a way of forming a judgment.
But to do that, you then need to come up with apply whatever criteria, and then compare it with either your goals or the goals of the organization or something. So to evaluate leads to a judgment. That judgment could be different depending on whether or not you're judging it as the organization or as you personally. We've all heard people say, well, I don't agree with this personally, but I think the best decision is whatever.
And we can all have different set of values, you know, business values, moral values, we've got family values. And they're not always compatible. So somehow, in a way, values becomes a set of operating rules.
Or clothes that we put on for the occasion.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I'm going to work this weekend because the company needs it or the boss is pressing me. I should be spending the time with my children. So their family values are in conflict with either job values or something like that. Yeah, often in conflict.
I just wonder why nobody spoke about money when I spoke about value. Because if you hear the giants speaking about value, it's all the time about money.
Right, good point. Right.
It's never different. So, and we are evaluating someone by the amount of money he or she make, and this is made to the letter and. So it's quite interesting. And I have sent you this article about money, which I think it was fascinating. For me, at least, it was long for me, but a really interesting read, to be honest. And that was a lot about value.
Yes.
So I think that if we will be able to define the true value, and I think that despite the fact that we have different values, I think there are some which are common to all. The value of life, maybe.
There's lots of people. There's lots of people who do not value life. They don't value their life. Easy to find people who don't value the next person's life. When they're older, people who are older oftentimes just want to stop the pain or just want to rest. And what they value more than their own life might be peace and the end of the struggle.
The question is if there is some value which will be understood the same by all. Because if we will find it, probably there will be the unity point that we spoke about, chains and so on. So the question, the wasteless world for me is one of the value, but it's not the value, it's the aim. But some of the values are there. But I never try to find out the values from that.
I think that in general terms, there are more positive values than negative values, but I don't think they're the ones that drive society forwards. I think values like greed are much more potent at pushing societies in certain directions, and again, orchestrated by the giants.
And that's interesting. I never thought about negative values. I all the time in my head is when there is something value, it must have value. So it must be something positive. But
I think for greedy people, greed probably is a positive value as far as they're concerned.
Do you think that they think about themselves as a greedy people? I don't think so.
No, I probably they see themselves more as successful people.
And success is value in some way, or the result of applying some value, probably.
Well, success to them. So success means different things to different people, just like value does.
Mm.
Going back to greed, Kevin, we were going back to my salesman upbringing. I was taught early that people only choose to do something for one of two motives, either greed or fear drives everything. And in fact, in the business part of the news, there's that greed and fear meter. It says the little circular thing with a needle and well, today's market is being driven by fear as the inflation goes up or for whatever other driver. So is that true? Greed and fear are the only two motivators.
Funnily enough, I've been working this week on a new book, and I was looking at how intelligence services use their power. How do they get people to help them? And apart from true patriots, the two factors are fear or greed. They're the main motivators.
So those you would classify as being negative values?
Depends whose side you're on. I would say that no, they're it's what you make of them. That they can be both positive and negative, but they are extremely good ways of encouraging or coercing people, however you want to describe it.
I feel from this discussion there is something missing. There is missing something as a value, really. And I have the same feeling a few hours ago that we are somehow missing some link which really can connect, which will be with everyone. I do understand your description of the life, so valuing of the life. We can look just in any war or crime or anything. So I do understand, but I think that we are something is missing. And I don't know what, I cannot express it at the moment. It's really interesting.
It could be, it's like most things. There's the secret is to separate personal values from society's values. And once you can do that, then you can see for yourself better how you can fit into society, or what is wrong with society, or what is wrong with you. And I think that it's two competing forces: the value of society, the value of personal conviction.
On the other hand, if there will be if the people will follow personal interests, which will be unified with one aim, not the government, but let's say the wasteless world, for example, then I think that they will push this value of this aim into the society as well. But I don't think that the society is able to do the same onto the level of everyone in the society. If it will be so, we need just one political party and everybody will be happy, you know. But this is not the case. Every time there is somebody, this is against the other and so on. So this is why we are struggling. But still, I think that finding out the right value, which we can follow and everybody will understand, will be quite interesting point. I just read before we started, I made the next preparation for the newsletter, and I found out that some British company was funded to use AI to prepare 3 days work week. Until 2030, I think it should be prepared, or 2028, I don't remember the date. You know, what is crazy that nobody is investigating what the people will do in the rest of the days, which is much more important than the work at the end, especially if there will be more days free than the days in work.
That's a big question, and one that's not being discussed enough. But I, there are several different avenues that people will go down if suddenly we have 4-day weeks or 3-day weeks, work weeks, and one of the most interesting is that, and I've said this before, people value or describe themselves by their job, right? So when you meet another guy at a cocktail party or are getting to know somebody, say, well, what do you do, right? As if what they do for work defines their person. And that's why it's so traumatic when somebody gets laid off or fired, because suddenly their self-description is gone, vanished. And so they scramble mightily to find that self-definition. Uh, so when we go to 4-day weeks or 3-day weeks, then we will be challenged to define ourselves by something other than our work. Um, and some people will get a second job. Some people will just take early retirement. Some people will take a hobby. Some people, and so there's a whole list of things that people may do, but it will challenge each individual to come up with their own to discover what their true self-definition is, what their true value is. So that I think value is at the heart of that discussion.
And I think also there's, you know, is it voluntary or is it compulsory? Because for a lot of people, to be stuck at home for an extra day or two could be disastrous.
Well, it's humorous that you say that, but yes, like when the lockdown came, there were husbands and wives who looked across the table and decided that that for years they enjoy being at the office and not back here with this person.
When I met my wife, she was generally the employee of the same company, not my direct. I was not the boss, but I was close to be her boss. And when we left the company, we worked together. And so many people said, "What? You are working with your wife together 24 hours together? Are you crazy? I cannot imagine." But as you told the story, it just came a joke which I saw a few days ago, yesterday. Two senior golfers. They are after the first shot, and one says, "Have you seen the ball?" And the other says, "Yes, I have, but I don't remember where it falls." So it was so great done. And it reminds me so strongly on some discussions where one says yes, and the other says yes, but I don't know. I forgot everything. So, and in few days there will be, starting COP in 8 days in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, I don't remember. And yesterday and day before yesterday has been recorded two hottest days in entire human history. They said that it breaks everything what was ever recorded. And yes,
I don't know if you saw that satellite images have shown that the United Arab Emirates have been burning off far more gas as a waste product than they promised they would do. And these are the same guys that are hosting the COP discussions. It's so grotesque. It's not even worth bothering with.
We are speaking right now at the moment when China took over the human rights at UN. So this is why I said 1 year ago to Antonio Guterres, start dissolving United Nations. It does not serve its purpose. Let's use the money better way. There is for sure a value of the money, and it can be used much more. But coming back to the value, I think we are touching one thing. We are touching the personal value, and I think this is exactly the point. So to define the true value of a person, as you said, it can be my job. So I'm doctor, I'm more valued than somebody who is just cleaning up the toilets. But I think there must be something. And the point that we define ourselves by a job, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Because I did for a long time on my business card, all the time my career. But the fact is when I changed to human, people value it much more. And that was surprising for me, to be honest. It was surprising. And I think there is something, when I speak with the people and so on, I think that we are all looking something what simply can be defined as a value, and everyone can say, yes, I would like to be valued this way. And all the other will be somewhere there, but not so important.
Let's give me an idea. Maybe it's bonkers, but if you take what you're saying and what we've been saying, then actually what value is more than expected. So if something gives you value, it gives you more than you expect. So for example, your business card, the value of that business card is that you get more positive response than you would expect. And I suppose then bad value is getting less than you expected.
So in my words, bad value is the waste. No matter which one, waste, simply. Because it's less valued, so it's waste.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But again, what's waste to you may be of value to me. So we do not have a common value in that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is a common value that everyone has or could have. I'm still wrestling with that.
Uh, what is the value, nature value? What is the value of nature? I mean, from the perspective of nature.
I don't think nature tries to justify itself by assigning a value, and I think who are we to assign that value to nature, which is perfectly happy existing and doing what it does. Who are we to put a human value? We There's no way we can know what value nature has. We're too shallow.
Uh,
We
what you said just now came to my mind. Do we need value? Shouldn't we be like nature and we don't need value? Or do we?
We do. I think that we need to value each other. We need to use a value system to form a hierarchy of what is good and what is not good.
Uh, and is value the right word for what you just described?
I think there's better words, but in terms of each other, value is a good word. We can all value people's opinion. We can all value people's hard work.
Here I struggle, of course, with my English knowledge. So, because I have a limited understanding of the term value, projecting into two economical, financial, or what you describe, I do understand. But I think this is my struggling at the time.
I think it has 3 or 4 different meanings. That's the problem.
And maybe narrowing these meanings will help us to really, I call it the true value. So the true value is not money, but is the skills and a lot of humanity and so on.
Getting back to something we said earlier, the values help us to make choices, to evaluate just everyday events. I'm not going to go outside today because it's raining and I do not want to be wet and cold. Or I'm going to finish that book and get it off to the publisher because I need the money or because whatever. And those are my values. And without values, how do you make choices? And if you don't make choices, then you're just a slug, a garden slug, and even a garden slug makes choices. So I don't know that values drive our life. I don't know.
I think for a long time of my life, it does. But I don't think that it do it right now. At least not the old values. As you mentioned, we are not, we know that money is important, but it's not the value why we do our work. It's just the add-on at the end. We get paid, fine. But it's not the reason. Is value a reason? Because I do it for money. So it's a reason is money. So can I say instead of a value, a reason?
Actually, there's a saying, Bill, you probably know it better than me. Maybe I get it slightly wrong, but it was aimed at people who have a certain attitude towards money. So there's something like they know the price of everything, but the value of nothing.
That's it. And so that would be someone who, even though they're financially well off, continue to use money as um, their goal or their motivator. Um, and yet they are, we call it street smart or street stupid, meaning they don't know the basic values.
Which then gets onto value being appreciation. So if you value something, you appreciate it, I guess, or you can see an inner something in it that you can appreciate that you don't get if you just buy it.
Right. Or if daddy gives it to you.
Yeah.
You know, how much valuable are people which you met 20 years ago? You meet them on the street, they recognize you because you gave them something which was not a financial gift, but you gave them an idea, you gave them something, and they said, "It's you, Bill. It's great. Your speech changed my life. You know, this is much more valuable for us than anything else." And there is no price tag on it. And I think that especially these things, we really have to name it correctly. And I don't think that value is the right word. Simply, I don't feel like that. I am wrong probably, but I don't feel like that. I think that there is something missing, and it's frequent in our discussion that we discover that there is something which we are not fully aligned with, and maybe missing. I don't know. I'm not so good in English, but I will look for another word. You know, when I finished one of the last talks about nothing, I finished it with the words, "Have a nice day, human," as a new sentence. And when I asked that to be translated from Czech, "Dobrý den, člověče," to English, it was translated by Google Translate, "Hey, mate." But I do not want to say, "Hey, mate." I need the word human, and I need to really express it that I value this person because he or she behaved human in a right way, in the meaning of a right way behavior, you know. And it was so struggling for me. But I will use this expression in Czech at least until I found a same strong expression in English.
But thinking about it then, Michael, I think that maybe the word value has been hijacked. That value is connected to money now, but it never was. So the expression value for money has become the primary way we think about value, which is not the core meaning, not the original meaning of value.
And I think you just hit the right point. Yes. I think because many expression has been hijacked exactly the same way to be used against people, to change our mindset, not to look at it. Green. Right now, everybody says green, you see negative things because it's Green Deal, whatever. So let's say uncomplex thinking and price increase, and you say green all the time. I never use green. If for 10 years, I don't use this term. I don't use the term sustainability. All these terms are either not explained at all, and everybody thinks it's something different, or they are hijacked. You use the right term. I think it's exactly that. And how to get it back? Can you use your experience of the secret services and this, let's say, society around, because they free people who are hijacked. How to do it with the term? I don't know. I don't know.
So I just looked up the etymology of the word value, and it says is derived from the Latin word valere, meaning to be strong, and to be vigorous. To be of value is to have a certain virtue. That's the first time we've seen that word today. The sense of value is an essential attribute of the human consciousness.
Doesn't mention money once, does it?
No, it mentions consciousness. That's a that's an interesting
And I
word.
think even our forefathers, I don't think my mother, but probably granddad, was living in a time when value has a very different meaning. I think that this changed really after the Second World War, probably. So where this was this economical push and everything, you can buy everything because and so on. So I think it's this hijacking is rather young. In my country, generally it's changed strongly with the Velvet Revolution. So 34 years ago, when we changed from socialist to capitalist, from one day to another, which was not right, but okay. And the Chinese are living it right now. But there, of course, the communists are stronger, the socialists are stronger than the other parts. But still, it's a capitalist country. It's just run by the socialists, by the Communist Party. But it has nothing to do with the original ideas. So I think the hijacking is very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Kevin.
And in the last 20 years, maybe not 20 years, maybe the last 40 years, the marketing people of the world um, have 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 pushed to use positive words um, to lay claim to positive descriptions, and so there's all sorts of you mentioned green before, um, was just a color, but now it's political, and you can use it to lie and to cover up the truth. And so we're doing a lot of that these days, um, of lying or covering up the truth by claiming words such as value or eco-friendly or and on and on and on. The marketing world just loves to take a word and use it in a positive context and then claim that word.
We have 2 minutes left. And
Really?
just one information. Yesterday, I think The Guardian published an article where an oil company sue European Commission, Denmark, and Germany. Have you Saw that?
No.
For the windfall tax, I think. So somebody who made the damage is right now the first at the court, and it's crazy. Crazy word, really.
I would like somebody to stand up and say, shame on you. Shame. Because the sense of shame, which would be a good word to talk about, the sense of shame is disappearing. You know, my dad would say, shame on you for doing that. Shame on you for treating your brother like that. Shame.
You're right. So we have the
Nobody
last
says that
minute.
to the Giants anymore.
We have the last minute to go. And I would like to thank you because it was once again very interesting discussion. And I'm sure we will touch this in the next ones. And I would like to wish everyone have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, free, and please respect the right values, the human values. I think the values of humanity are not bad. So we can follow them. But we will come back to you next week and see you later then. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.